Welcome to This Is Our Earth podcast. I am Sylvia Puentes, and I invite you to these amazing conversations that explore the wonder and magic of connecting with our beautiful planet. Inspired by El Lugar, the place, originally a book by Gary Douglas, and now being actualized on our Earth as we speak. What can we each be that would create a sustainable living Earth? So, welcome everyone to another episode of This Is Our Earth. And I have the pleasure of knowing a lot of people around the planet that, are choosing to live and question what, I guess what they can contribute to the planet. And today I have a special being, Sul, that I've gotten to meet a couple times in person. And this conversation that him and I briefly had about where we think we're not being a contribution or where we can't contribute, perhaps like other people have decided is a contribution. And I would love to welcome you, Soul, to this podcast. And would just love whatever it is that you have to say that invites people to go beyond what we've decided is contribution.
Thanks, everyone. And, hi. And thank you, Sylvia, for having me. I guess one of the things for me with El Lugar was, just looking at, this place of, well, what can you contribute? And, ever since it started, it was something that I always was like, wow, this is amazing. This had this energy about it. A lot of you would have, read the book, The Place, and reading that book, you're just like, oh my God, I wish this land existed, and it's like, where can we find it? And, now it's actually shown up and is being actualized, which is amazing.
And for the people that may not know about this book, we'll put a link in. And the project El Lugar is a project in Costa Rica. And so, as you started to speak, there's, since I've met you, there's a space about you. There's a presence, a silence almost that I don't know if you've actually are really aware of that. But when I think, and I've been in the El Lugar property several times, is there anything you can speak about by what you choose to be that actually is a contribution to the earth and in ways that may not tend to make sense logically?
Yeah, I guess, well, one of the things, actually, I'll just like tell a little sort of story. I was cleaning out my house recently before we were about to move, and I found this piece of paper that I'd written on like, well, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And on that piece of paper, it said, I think it was future forests. And it's this like idea that I'd had for, a way that you could, contribute to the planet by planting trees and everything. And now we have like forests for futures, and I just went, wow, I was aware of this future, and it's like I didn't know how it was going to show up, but it's like, to me, that was this amazing kind of acknowledgement of the way that the earth will give you the information in advance of what's going to show up in the future. And it never shows up how you think it will, but it was like, it was just this really nice reminder of like, oh, you know you're aware of what the earth requires and desires in the future that it would like to create. And you know by having that and allowing that, you are contributing to a greater future.
And that's really beautiful that and that's the part that I get, that having these different kind of conversations of where there's almost a sense of a whisper of an idea, a possibility, and the I don't know what other word to use, but the power or the contribution that is to, I don't know, to allow it, to receive it, and just to ask a question without the necessity of the result of time of is such a huge gift.
Yeah. And I think for so many of us, we're like, oh, I'm just, this one small person. It's like, what can I contribute? But we're these, huge, like, energetic beings that, when we get behind something and we contribute our energy to it, it grows. And I love the question that at one stage, Gary and Dane were asking everyone to just ask is like, what can I contribute to El Lugar? And I know like one thing at the moment, it's in the middle of construction, and there's like finances are required. So for me it was like, okay, well, this is what's required right now. So what can I create and actualize that can contribute to that?
And I love that question. I know Dr. Dane has been using it for some time as well, inviting us to, okay, what contribution can I be to you, like to the earth and to El Lugar? And for me, it's that willingness to ask that already creates, which is magical. And then you're right, there can be actions. There's different ways for people to invest in El Lugar, um, but it's like how much we discount the question and the desire and the attention we put on something to have it grow and be the greatest it can be.
And I love that. And I love as well how Elgar is being created, where it's like everyone can, it's like everyone can contribute and receive from Elgar, because it doesn't matter, if you have $10 or $1 million, or you just desire to contribute your energy to it. It's like, it's all available. And that's so different. It's such a different way of looking at things and creating things. And, you just, it's such an amazing project that includes so many people and contributes to so many as well.
Now, I'm going to kind of venture off a little here to the side. And, there's different, you're a facilitator, an Access Conscious facilitator, and you're facilitating, classes globally online at the moment. And um, you facilitate some classes called X-Men, among other classes. And can you say a little about that? There's just an awareness of how that may also be a way of contributing to our greater planet.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the things that we talk about in X-Men is that, we don't actually function from separation. And so it's like anywhere that you are functioning from separation is probably somewhere where you're functioning from, a lie, something that's not actually true. And so if you can have your like awareness across the whole planet, it's like, what can you contribute from that space? And, we tend to sort of worry ourselves with the day-to-day things, but it's like if you can expand your space out to be across the whole planet and function from that place, and like ask, what can I contribute and what can I receive with you today, like the planet. It's like there's a really different space and a really different possibility available.
And as you're saying that, there's that energy of the planet doesn't separate, right? Like there's no separation, there's no judgment, and the willingness to acknowledge how much many of us function from that. And it seems so odd and strange because there can be an intensity, right? As you're willing to receive the awareness, the energies of everything going on the planet, it can be, for many people, this intensity that they refuse. I'm wondering what you can share with people as, there's so many changes going on. What could be something that could create more ease with people that as they have that ease would contribute to the energy on the planet having more ease?
Yeah, and I mean, the planet's always talking to us, and one of the things that we tend to do if we're not receiving that communication, or it'll often, like, the planet will intensify that information, and so our bodies are these great receivers that we have, and often that will like show up as pain or something. But it's like what you can actually do is ask, all right, so what is this energy, and is the earth actually asking for some contribution? And then just get the sense of whatever that energy is that you have available to contribute, and just be it, allow it. And it's like we have these things called the 1 2 3s, and it's kind of like sending that energy out across the earth, for wherever it's required. And it's like it's such a simple, easy thing, and you might be doing it and thinking that you're crazy, but it's like, what's the worst that could happen if you just tried it and just see what shows up? And what contribution can you be and receive from that place?
And I love it. Actually, my very first encounter to a live class with Gary Douglas, the founder, I didn't know about this tool about contributing your energy. And I had a pain for like 3 weeks that I knew had to do, like in my mind, it had to do. I had lifted too many weights, and so now I had a pinched nerve. And he asked this question about, is the earth asking for your contribution? It's like, wow, that's light, but weird, but okay. We did the 1, 2, 3 contribution to the earth and it was gone. I mean, I remember reaching up high, moving my arm all sorts of directions, going, what? Like it made no sense. And yet it was this magic of like, wow, what else is available here that's beyond what we conceive true and real that can create more ease with our bodies and everything else. And so, yeah, I know that one very well, and I wouldn't have believed it if someone told me until I experienced it. And after that, it was like, wow, this is the most fun I've had, the quickest change. What is this thing called access consciousness? And so that was
Yeah.
my venture into the magic of possibilities beyond this reality. And that's what I get, these classes that you facilitate, X-Men are inviting us to acknowledge projects like El Lugar and other things that people are choosing to be and do out in the world that are inviting us. It's like, I know more is possible. And if enough of us begin to voice what we know, like what can we change? Where are those, the people either listening to us now that have gone, oh my God, I thought I was too weird, you know? And yet, finally it's like, oh, there's someone else also aware of that this is possible. So
Yeah. And just that place as well of, it doesn't matter, who you are, what you've got going on in your life. It's like you have something to contribute. And if you can just get that one thing from this, it's like the earth and the world will become a greater place. So, yeah.
and with that too, you started off saying that when you have this point of view that, oh, who am I to contribute to a project like that if I can't do it that, financially or whatever. And yet there's so many other ways to contribute. So many.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. I just love what this is all, creating, and I'm really excited to listen to this podcast and, see all the other amazing speakers. And yeah, I'm just so happy to uh, be a part of it. And thanks so much for having me, Sylvia.
You are so welcome. And I'm having a great time as well. And, maybe some people can perceive that joy and the possibility in that space because I know that creates, and that's the energy that I'd love to see on the world. And this is our earth. And if we're not going to choose to be something different on the planet, I don't know that it's actually possible. But if one more person chooses to be more of them, have more of them, more joy, we can and we will. So thank you so much, Sul, and I look forward to hugging you and seeing you in person sometime.
Yay, me too. Thanks. Bye,
Thank
guys.
you. Bye, everyone. Thank you for listening to this show. My target is to inspire new actions and conversations that empower us all to know that we are the ones creating the future. If you'd like a way to contribute to our podcast, please leave a review wherever you listen. And for information about El Lugar, visit l-lugar.com. Thank you.